The next stage, once you have your final repeat, or if you're happy with it, is to save the name. So double click and you might say final repeat, and you'd either copy it by Control A, so you can see selecting it all, Control C, and put it into a new file and save it as a TIFF, but we'll go over that later. Another thing you might want to do is have a bit more of a play with it, depending on what sort of aesthetic you want. So an example you might do that is copy the whole thing, Control J, Control T, and you might flip it. So also think about using these tools, having a play, enter. Now you can't tell that it's different because it isn't, it's just changed the direction. But we could play with our blending modes. So you'll see here what sort of effect you get. You can get all sorts of different types. Overlay. And you can play with your opacity as well. Difference is very dark. Yep. So depending on what you'd like. So I quite like that. You can see that the top layer is on a mode. So the whole layer comes through in a different sort of way, a different aesthetic. So it will still repeat because I've made sure that the corners are all equal. So when I rotate it, I press shift. So it always rotates round. So if I left it like that, it wouldn't repeat properly. I'd need to make sure it was always on the 90. That's that. So now you can actually see that a few things are reflected, but yeah, so if I'm happy with that, I might say final repeat version 2. And then maybe you talk to your teacher about what sort of work or aesthetic you are after and choose between one or the other. But I think that's quite interesting. Because we're doing digital printing, it would be great to have a go at some of those. Also, what you could do is go back into where all your emblems were, and you could actually copy those up and play with them. So for example, say with this one, I might duplicate it, and I can see that it says copy, and move it up to the very top. We always want to keep an original in case anything goes wrong, we want to reuse it. So now we've got our 2, and you could just have a play with maybe trialing one emblem and a blending mode as well. That'll probably be too big. So you could try some different things by adding emblems separately as well. So you might want to add them in specific areas, depending on what you like. So that's it. Again, remember, if you merge them down, they are then stuck on that layer. If you ever don't want to merge them, if you might want to play with them again, you can always capture the screen like we did earlier. So remember the 4 keys, Shift, Alt, Command, E. And there we've got everything saved on the one layer. So that's what we'd be sending to the printer. So you can see here, there's a little reflection in there. So that could be something you'd want, or maybe an overall even print. Probably would go for something a little bit more random. And that's it. So you'll save the file as a Photoshop file. And later, so I'm just resaving what I had. And later we'll save a JPEG. So that's it.